Hi guys, welcome to Becodewala. I welcome you to my new amazing tutorial, and in this tutorial we are going to build a AI chatbot. So in this we are going to use HTML, CSS and JavaScript, and for the AI response we are going to Gemini API key. So I will show you how to get your Gemini API key also. So I will show you line by line code how you can write your HTML, CSS and JavaScript code to make this beautiful Gemini API chatbot. So you can see that the beautiful div, and when we will ask any question to the AI, it will show the response. So let's ask any question like what is HTML. So when I ask to the bot, it will show me the response. So you can see that the response has came. Right now let's ask another thing, what is the sum of 4 and 5 7. You can ask anything. The sum of 4 and 7 is 11. You can see that the how beautiful response is coming. You can ask anything to the this Gemini chatbot. So I will show you each and line of code to how to build this AI chatbot. So first of all we have to go to any code editor, like I am using VS Code, and in this first of all we have to create a folder. After importing, just create a index.html. So we have written the index.html. So let's create a boilerplate of our index.html. So just press this icon, right? You have to type this icon and press enter. So it will create a boilerplate for our HTML file. Let's create another file like styles.css, right? Then another file for the JavaScript script.js, right? And we have a two images also. You can see that we have a two images like the user message and the chatbot with the profile picture. So for the images we are going to import our images, like this is the bot images. So this images I will provide in my GitHub source code, so you can check out the source code for free. So if you are new to our channel, please don't forget to subscribe us. So let's start with the HTML file. So after creating our boilerplate for our HTML, just change the title Gemini. So we will see the response also in the live. So we will see the response, right? So you can see that the now it is empty, right? So we will write the code line by line, and you can see the response in my browser, right? So Gemini chatbot, like we can write, and after that we have to link our style.css file. So link our css file, we will use link tag, and in this we have to pass the name style.css. Then we have to add our javascript file also. So let's add javascript.file. So to add we are using script tag, and you can pass src script.js. So our style.css and the javascript file both are linked to the html file. Now let's start writing the html code. So let's create a div first, and in this div we will create one more div, and in this div we will create a h1 tag, and in h1 tag we are going to write Gemini chatbot, right? And let's start. You can see that the output in the right hand side of the screen, you can see that last style. So first of all we will write the class. So chat container, right? Container, and after writing the class, let's give the class for this div also, to style this div also, chat header, right? Now we can give class for this also, otherwise no need for this. So according to your needs you can style as however you want, right? Now we are going to create a div for the, like you can see that we have a this area where all the message has been displayed, and the input box and the button. We need all these things, right? After this heading, so out of this div we are going to create another div, and in this div we are going to create another div, and in this we have a input box, right? And in this input box we can type should be text. So we are going to ask some question to the bot, right? So we will type text, and we can use the id like user input. So user will input here, so whatever the question the user want to ask, then we can write placeholder. So please type your message, right? So you can see that the input box has been created. Now after the input box, let's create a button. So in this button we can write send button, like, and we can style this button by passing the id. So in this id we can write send button, right? It will send the message. So, and here in this div you can also write the class to style this div also. So chat input container, right? And we can style this message div also, class like chat message, right? And we can pass the id to control this div, and like chat message, right? And this div should be separate. This is the chat div. So in this box, the div, you can see that we are going to display our message, right? So this is the chat and we have another div for this type input and the send button, right? So we have created in a separate div. So this is another div, and in this is a separate top div where the message will display, you can see that. And above we have a heading, right? The heading div. So let's style our this all these things. So you can see that now it's looking ugly, right? So let's style this. So to style this, first start with the body tag. So in the body tag we can write font family, like we can write any font family as your need. So I'm going to just any default font family, and margin 0, then we can write padding 0, right? And font is not good, so we can write another font. So now it's cool, right? And after padding we can write background color for our body tag. So we can write like hashtag 1a 1a 1a. So you can see that the background color of our body tag. And now we can write display flex, right? So after this we can write justify content like center. So now you can see that the Gemini chatbot, this is in the center, right? A line item center. So this justify content center make horizontally center, and a line item center will make vertically center. So both make the responsiveness of our application. So we are making our chatbot responsive also. So here we can write align with the height, we can write 100 vh, right? And you can see that when I apply the height, the align item make all this text in the center. So color we can write like white, right? Now it's looking cool, right? So let's style our chat container. We have a class, right? Chat container, where all our chat will be displayed, the bot. So to style, start with the dot, because we are using class chat container. So in this chat container we are first going to set the width. So we can 100% we can use the width, right? And we can like max width to make it responsive, right? 40 pixel. And then background color we can write hashtag 2a 2a 2a, and you can see that the beautiful background. So we can write like border radius we can give, and it can be like 10 pixel, right? Looking cool, right? And we can apply the box shadow will be 0 0 10 pixel, and the RGBA like we can define like 255. Then for the green we can write like 255 only, and for the blue also we can write 255, and the opacity we can write 0.1 we can write, right? Now it's cool, right? The beautiful background, you can see that the back shadow in the background of our div. So we can write overflow hidden, and now we can write like flex direction column. So everything will be in a column wise. So flex direction column. Then we can write like height. So we can give 90 vh. Now we can see that the height is proper, right? The same, like the same. Now we have to style all the remaining things. So we have a chat header. This is the Gemini header, right? So we have to style the chat header. So we have also given the class for this, right? Chat header. So let's make it beautiful also. So chat header. So we are going to style our chat header with the background first. Write the background color, like we can write like the 3a 3a 3a, but we are using hex color, so we are, don't forget to give the hashtag, right? Then after that we can write like color of the text. So color is already white, so we can give color white, and then see we can write like the padding. So two space between this heading, so we can write padding like 15 pixel will be okay. And now it's cool, and the text is not in center, so we can write text align center. Now it's looking good. So after this we can style another part. So h1, so chat dot chat header, and in this we are going to style the h1 tag, because in this div we have a h1 tag, right? So we can style our h1 tag also, like margin 0, and font size we can write like 1.5 rem, right? Now it's looking more better. So now we are going to style our container where all the messages will be. You can see that the container where all the message has been displayed, right? So let's style that. So we can write like chat message. So in chat message we can write like flex grow 1, flex grow. So we can write like 1, and padding will be 10 pixel. Then we can write like overflow from y, so it should not overflow in the y direction, overflow like auto. So we have to write like y, so in y direction, right? Then after this we are going to style our the messages. So how the messages will be displayed? So the different messages, you can see that the user messages and the style and the font, everything is in proper wise, right? The user message in the right hand side and the chatbot message in the left hand side, right? So we are going to style all these things one by one. So first we will style the message. So in message we can pass like display flex, then we can write like align item center, then we can write margin, right? Margin from the bottom we can write margin bottom. How much we can take, like 15 pixel will be okay, right? And after the message we can write message content dot message content. So we have already created these classes before, right? The message content, where is your message content? The chat message, right? And the this message content, we don't have the message content right now. You can see that we don't have a message and the message content class. You can see that in the HTML file. So why we are writing this style.css, right? So because we are going to create the class in our script.js in the JavaScript file. How we can create this message classes and the elements using JavaScript, like we used to create in the HTML file. Similarly we can create this all these tags, we can apply the classes ID using JavaScript also. So I will show you the JavaScript part also. So before that we can style all these things. So let's style our message content. So padding, we can write like 10 pixel, then we can apply the border radius will be 5 pixel, then we can write max width, we can write like 70%. Then after that the message content we can write the user message. So when a user message, so the flex direction will be row reverse, row reverse. So both the message, you can see that the message in the one is on the left hand side and one is the right hand side, so both are in the opposite direction. So that's why we are using row reverse. And user message, so in this we have a message content dot message content. So you can write background color, you can write hashtag 4a90e2, right? Similar like blue color. So you can go and check out, you can see that the background of the user message is in similar like blue color. So this is the code, the hash code we are using for the background color of the user message. Then we can write margin from the right, so we can write like margin 10 pixel, right? Then similarly we can write for the bot messages. So dot bot messages. So in the bot messages we can write message content. So how the bot message content will be displayed? Background color will be 3a 3a 3a, and we can write like margin left. So margin left we can write 10 pixel, right? So why we have used background color 3a 3a, you can see the, because you can see that in the chatbot we have a different color, background color for the hot message, right? Then we have a profile image, right? We have a profile, beautiful profile image for both the chatbot and the user. We can style that also. So to style that, we are going to use dot profile class. That all this class we have to create using JavaScript. So I will show you that also. So don't worry. So profile image width we can set like 30 pixel. Then height we can write like 30 pixel. Then after that we can write border radius, and the border radius will be 50%, right? And object fit we can write cover, so it will be responsive. And after that, the profile image we can, the chat input container, you can see that the input container for this, when we type something, right, this type, so user is messaging. So to style this input tag, we are going to use the class that we have provided to the input tag. So chat input container. So in chat input container we can write like display flex. So the default behavior of the display flex will be row. So both chatbot, sorry, the input box and the button is in the row, right? And padding we can write like 15 pixel. Then we can write the background color like hashtag 2a 2a 2a, it will be okay. Then when the user will input, user input, so user input id that we had provided in this input tag, so flex grow 1. Then we can write like padding 10 pixel. Then we can write border, so we have a border also, right? You can see that the border, the thin border, so 1 pixel solid. And we can write hashtag 4a 4a 4a. Now we can write border radius 4 pixel. Then we can write font size 1 rem. Then we can write like the background color of the chat input, right? So we can write 3a 3a 3a. Now you can see that the color, when the input types any text, so color will be white. Then we can write outline none. So when you see the small black color border will come, so that is outline. So outline we can remove it, so we no need of outline. So now it's cool, right? After that we can use style our send button, send button. So this send button id is coming from our HTML file that we have added, right? So to send button id we can provide the padding from all direction will be, first of all we'll provide the padding from the top and bottom and right and left, right? Both the direction will be different, so the 10 pixel from the y direction and the 20 pixel from the x direction. Then after that we can write the background color. or you can like hashtag 4a then 90e2. See the beautiful background color. The button is not looking cool, so we will make it cool. So we can write white, then we can write border none, then we can write like border radius 5 pixel, then we can write like margin from the left. What will be the margin from the left? 10 pixel. Then we can write cursor pointer, then font size we can increase a little 1 rem. So now it's looking cool, right? So it is not on the bottom, so because the chat bottom should be down, so we will fix that also. So let's write the remaining code. So when the send button will be over, so when the send button will be over, right? So no need to write, so we can write background color, we can write 3a, not like this, so we can write the different 3a 7b and c8. So cool, right? And when the button the disable, so we have a when the button will be disabled, so let's I'll show you. So before when you write something, so button is disabled when the response is coming. So let's when I ask something, the button see disabled for the span of time. So red you can see that the red pointer has been shown that the button is disabled when the bot is responding, right? So that time we want to make the cursor not allowed. So until the one response has been completed, we can't send the another question to the chatbot. So this is the another thing we have added in our project. And to make this responsive, we are going to use media query. So this is the media query at the rate media, and the max width will be 480 pixel, and the chat container height will become 100 vh, and the border radius 0. So where is our, so here you can see that at the 480 pixel. So then we can style, so we don't have a our scroll bar. So in this we have a beautiful scroll bar, right? So this beautiful scroll bar we can design like here you can write this code also. So WaveKit scroll bar with 8 pixel, then the track, the background color will be this, and the thumb and this color, and the thumb over this color. So these are the simple CSS. So after that we can go for the JavaScript. This is the main part. So this is the very important part in our chatbot. So we are going to write the code line by line, and I will show you how this function will work together. So let's first of all we'll create our a const variable API key. Here we will give our API key. So how to get API key? Let's go to the Google. So first of all we have to search Gemini API. When you search Gemini API, so click on the first link ai.google.dev. So this is the, you will redirect it to this website. So here you can see the button get a Gemini API. Click on this button, right? After clicking on this button, we will redirect it to the aistudio.google.com/API key, and there you will get the button to create a API key. So just click on get API key, right, and it will create a API key. So you can see that the API key, and it will ask anyone to select from the below project. So we can select like this, and when you click on this, it will generate a API key. So it's generating API key, and just copy this API key and paste it in our VS code. So here we have to copy and paste our API key in our VS code. So this is the very simple to get the API key from the Gemini. So after this we have a link also, right? So this is the link, HTTP generative language Google and the generate content, right? So we have to copy this up to generate content before the question mark. We have to copy till this and go to our VS code and write const API URL, and here we have to paste our API URL. So with this URL and the API key, we will generate the response. So after this we can access the chat messages, the chat element we have created, the chat message where the chat message will be displayed, and the input when the user will type. So and when user will click on send button, it will give the response. So we have to access this three of this element. So to access we have to use const chat message, right, chat messages, and here we can write like document dot get element by id. So what is the id? So chat message. So this is the id that we have provided here, chat message. You can see that the chat message id, right? Similarly we have to create the another. So now we will access the user input. So user input get element by id, and what is the id of the user input? User hyphen input, right, like this. Then we have to access our button also. So send button, and the name of the id that we provided to the button is send button. So you can go and see the id that we provide. This is the name of the id is send button. So now we can create a function that will generate the response. So when you go to the Gemini API, so you can see that we have a quick start guide. So here we have a proper documentation how we can use our Gemini API key to get the response. So you can see that for the JavaScript, we can click on the JavaScript, and it will show the how we can get the response. So we can go through this API key. So you can see that the content that will ask, but we are going to use this, and we can use the application content type and this all this content. So I will show you all this code. So first of all we create a function. So we'll create a async function, right, and in this async function we will name the async function like generate response, and in this generate response we can pass the prompt, means the user input. So when we pass, so we will get the response with the this user input. So to get the response we'll create the response variable, and in this we will store our response. So await, when you are using async await, So it return a promise. So fetch, and we are going to fetch the data from the Gemini AI chatbot with the user input. So in the curly, with the double tick, we in the curly braces we can write API URL. So with this API URL and the question mark, so if we can see that here we have a question mark, and after the question we have a key. We have to pass the key, right? We have to pass the question mark after the curly braces, and we have to pass the key, and the key will be equal to, in the curly braces we can write API key, right? The same thing we have written here also, same thing, but we have make it more better. So whenever user can come and paste your API key and this the URL, you can change it and automatically it will show the response. This is the proper way of writing the code. So here after this we can write a curly braces, and you can see that in the curly braces we have to pass the content type application JSON, method will be post, and the content, in the content we have to pass the what are the text you want to ask to the Gemini chatbot. So we can write method, and in this method we can write like post, and after this we can write like headers. In the headers we want to make the content type JSON. So content type, so in the content type we can make it like application slash JSON. So this is the method to get the response. So we are using post method, so we are sending some prompt, the text, the user input to the Gemini API, and after that it will give me the response. So application type JSON format. So then after that in the body, so we have to pass the user text also. So how we are going to pass? In the body JSON dot stringify, and in this we can pass contents. So all these things coming from our this contents parts, so we can just write it here, the contents, and in this we can pass like parts, and in the parts we can pass the text, and the text will be prompt. So this is the prompt that we are passing here. So the prompt is the user text. So after this writing this, the function, the generate response, it will give the response with the user text input, right? So after this we can go for writing the check. So we can use if response, if response, if not response, we can write if is, suppose we don't get the response from the AI. So when we, what we will do that time? So we will throw an error, throw new error. So in this error, so write like fail to give response, right? So it will give error when the Gemini API will unable to give the response, and if we get the response we will store in a const variable named with the data. So await response dot JSON will convert the data into JSON. So JSON format. So when we get the response from the Gemini API, will convert to the JSON and we will return. So when you are using async await, we have to return something, right? And see, we are writing outside of this. So we have not to write outside of this. So all these things will be happen in our the generate response function, right? So we have to write here. So and if we get the response, we'll convert it to JSON and we'll store in the data variable, and we can write like first I'll show you in the console that how we can get the data. So data dot candidates, so candidates, data dot candidates with the 0th position of the array, and content dot parts. So why I am writing all these things I will show you next. So this is the way to get the actual text that we want to display on this. So when you write some, so the response will come, right? So to get this text from the Gemini API, so we have to write all these things. So I will show you why I am writing all these long things. Now we have to write a markdown function. So why we have to write the markdown function? So when we get the response from the AI, this Gemini AI chatbot, it will include like hashtag, asterisks, and the other unwanted lines and the spaces. So the response will not be look beautiful in our this the bot response that we can see now. So to make that look beautiful, we have to create a clear markdown function, and we have to remove all the these things, that unwanted things that make our response ugly. So I have already written code for this clear markdown. So here I am just going to copy and paste, and I will show you how why I am writing this markdown. I will show you in the response, right? When I remove this clean markdown, the response will not look good. So I'll show you each and everything. So before that, we have to create this function to clear the markdown. So here we have created a function name with the clear markdown. We have to pass the text. The text is this text. This is the response text coming from the Gemini API key when you ask any question, and it will return the text by replacing all the hashtags and the asterisk it will replace, and the unwanted lines, right, and the trim white spaces from the start and end of the string. So we have to clear this all these unnecessary things. So for that we have written this function. After that, creating markdown. So after creating the markdown, we can create a add message function. So whenever user is typing, right, so when click on the send button, the message is stored in the this beautiful tree, right? So to do this, we have to create another function, add message. So function add message. In add message function, we have to pass the message and the is user. So we have to make our message in this div, and if the user or the bot, we have to check the if the user is sending the message, it will be on the right hand side, bot response on the left hand side. So to check that we have written the parameter is user. So now we can create a constant message element. We have to create a message element, and in this message element we have to create a div. So that I told you how we can create the HTML element using JavaScript. So document dot create element, and in this we have to pass the div. So in this div our message will be stored. So in this message we have to add the class list. Again, I'll show you that why we have written the that classes. You can see that in the style.css we have written the classes, the message content. So that classes we have created using the JavaScript. So message element dot class list dot add. So we have to add a class to this div element message, right? So we have created a div element and we have added a class. Like we create a div element, add a class like we used to do in the HTML file. Now we have to add another class. So message element dot add, first we have to add the class list dot add. Then in this we have to check if user is there, then add this class user message, otherwise bot message. So if the user is there, add this class, and if user is not there, you can write the bot message class. So user message class and the bot message, you can see that we have a style the different thing for the user message and the bot message. So it will check and it will add that class differently for the both the messages. And after that we have to add the profile. So if user is there, it will add the user message with the user profile. If the bot is there, it will add the bot images with the bot response, right? So to do this we have to create const profile image, and in this we can write like document dot create element. We have to create an element, and in this we have to attach our jpg file, right? So to use the image we have to create the img tag, right? That we do in the index.html file. Similarly we have to create, so profile image dot class list dot add, and we can add a class profile image. This is easy, right? Image. So profile image class we have added to the image tag. So in the image element we have added the profile image class, and after that we will set profile image to the different message. So in the src, in the image, like I will show you, when you type image we have a source, so we have to pass the source, then it will show the image, right? So let's go for the JavaScript, and when the user message will be there, we will attach the user image. When the chatbot message will be there, we attach the chatbot image, right? That we have shown. So user profile dot, so here the profile image dot src equal to will be if is user, if the user is present, you can write like user dot jpg. So this is the name of the image, so user.jpg. So if user is there, it will attach the source image will be user.jpg, otherwise bot.jpg. it is that clear? So I hope you understand. Then we have to add a alternate text, so we can write if you profile image will not be displayed, like we add here, like when we write we have alt text, right? So this alt, so to do this we can do similarly in our javascript file also. So alt equal to each user, if user is there you can write user, otherwise you can write bot. So it is quite easy. So now to display this message, all these messages we have to store in a container, right? So we will create a div const message content. So before we are using message element, now we have a message content. So we have to style our message content. So first we have to create a div document dot create element, and we have to create a div, right? Then in this div we can add a class also, message content dot class list dot add, and we can add a class like message content. So you can see that all this message content right in this div. So after attaching our class to the this div, you have to make the message content dot text content. So this is the javascript property. So text content, so we are adding what the text we have to add to this message content. So the text is like if we send hi, so this hi will be attached to this message content div, and when the user will type, so it will be message, right? And this message, where is your message? So here you can see that the message parameter that we have passed, so that message we have to attach to this div, right? And after this we have to attach everything, like we make a div. In this div we have append the another div, we have append the another h1 tag. So similarly to do this in our javascript, so we can write message element dot append child. So this h1 is the child of this div, and this div is the child of that upper div, right? So similarly we can do in the javascript also. So profile image, so we have to attach the profile image to this message element. So whenever the user will message, we have to attach the profile picture also. Then we can write message element dot append child, and we can attach the message content also. So what is the message content? This is hi is the message content that will also be attached to the this div message element. So all this is the parent div, right? Now chat messages dot append child, whatever the chat message will be, so we will pass the message element. So now this all this message element will be attached to the chat messages. So chat messages is coming from this chat messages div that we are accessed from the index.html file. So in this div our all these chat messages will be displayed. So you can see how the html and the javascript one by one link together from the child to parent, right? So after this we have to create another function. This is the function to attach all the messages to this div, right? Now we have to create another function. So whenever user will type something, it will go to this generate message, that response, and it will ask the question, the prompt that we type in the input box to this Gemini API URL, and after getting the response we have to show. So now let's create a function to handle user input. So we will create a async function. So because we have to wait for the response, right, from the chatbot, so we have to write the async function, and the name of the function is handle user input, right? And this we can pass the empty, no need to pass any parameter, and here you can write const variable user message. And don't worry, after writing this code I will explain once again. So user input, so when the user will input, so that input dot value dot trim, to trim the spaces. So when user types something and give some spaces, so that space will not send to the API. So this, you can see that the user input, this is the user input, that the element get element by id, that we have accessed this input. Whenever the user will type here, so first we access this element, and the element, that element, in that element, so here we have to write value, right? Value, so user input dot value, so whenever the user types something, that value will be trimmed. So any white spaces or something will be there, that will be removed, and after that, that value will be stored in our user message, right? So we get the user message, what the user is going to message. So after that, if user message, in the, suppose we get the user message, user had typed something, then we have to add message, user message, and we have to pass the true. So why we are writing this? So add message to the, where is your add message? So this is the add message function that we have created before. So this message, what is this function do, that whenever the user or but message will be there, so suppose we type hi here, so that user message with the profile picture and all this thing will be get the value. First we'll get the value from this handle input, and this input, that message will be attached to this div, right? So after the, if any user message will be there, that we attach to the add message function, that we have to get, this add message function will add this user input, this beautiful div, right, in the center, and after that it will go to the Gemini API response, we get the response, we'll show the response, right? So to handle, so we, after adding this user input, so this will add message to this hi. So suppose we write hello, so after typing, the user input has been empty, right? So we have to make the user empty when the user message something. So after the user message, we have to make this empty, so user input dot value equal to empty, right? So that user can type another message. Then we have a send button, that send button we have created, access the button that we have created in the index.html file. This button, we have accessed this button, so we have to write the function on this button. So whenever the button, when will be disabled, so disabled, so when the button will be disabled, so when the user has been messaged, that time, until the get we get the response, that message will be disabled. So now the message, the send button is abled, so when you type something and see the message, the button was disabled. Now the button was enabled. So you can see that it's working, right? So user input dot disabled equal to true. So when the until we get the another response, we can't like type something. So when you try to type something, it will not type. So it is very fast. So see, so you can check it in your laptop. So because it giving the fast response, you can see that when I type something, when I click on send button, I'll type to see. After the response, then it shown me the input box to type something. Before that, until get the response, the input box and the button will be disabled. This is the important function we have to write in our code, that until the one work is completed, we can't tell the chatbot to complete another work. So one by one we will get the response, and will make our chatbot to give the one by one response to our user message. So this is the thing. So like we have used this add message, but we have not used this function generate response. What is this prompt? So we will use that also. So we will use try catch. So use try catch when we are sending some message to the API. So const bot message. So when the user will type something and it is sent to the bot, it gave me the response, right? So that bot message, when the bot message, how will we will get this bot message? With this generate response function to generate our response with the user message. So when the user will message, so when you type something and the user will send the user message, we have created this with the user input value. So that value will be sent to the generate response function, and this what generate response function do, it takes your the user input value sent to this API URL with this post method, and we will get the response. So after the getting response from the this bot, we will add message. So this add message function, we will, after getting the response, we have to add to this div, right? So it will add the message right in the response. So to add this, we have already created add message function that we have used before, and add message, right, like clean markdown. So whatever the bot response we will get, we have to clean that message also, right? I will show you by removing the clean markdown, and without and with the clean markdown. So I'll show you both the things, don't worry. So in this clean markdown, we have to pass the bot message. So bot message will be cleaned here, and it will be true, right? Sorry, we can write false here, not true. So it will add the bot message and clean the response in the chat, right? And after that, we have to handle the error also. So if any error will come in the response of the message, we can write console.error, and we write the error message, and then we can write add message, and we can write the show the error in the div also. If any error will be there, sorry, I am unable to give some give response, please try later. So I will show you this error also, so don't worry. When I type something and will send, So we click on send button, then the response will come. So that thing I will show you. So after this we have to try catch and the finally. So finally what we have to do, make the send message button dot disabled equal to. So after the sending response, the if the user message exists that time also, and when the user is responding that time also, we have to make the false. So send button false, user input false. Then we can write user input dot focus, right? And so this is the user send button disable equal to false, and here is the true. So when the user is sending some message to the bot response, that time the button disable true means we can't send another message. Here the button disable we have to make false after getting the response from the user, right? So and automatically, so when the when you type something and you send the input is and the button is disabled, and after the getting response it automatically focused. You can see that the input is automatically focused, right? So this is the thing we have used to make our again the button get enabled when the response had came from the bot, right? After that we have to attach the event listener also, right? So send button, so here we have a handle user input, right? So add event listener, so when the user will click, so let's show you. So we'll make it little big, right? And we'll inspect element and make it like this, and console, let's type something hi. So when I click on send button, nothing is happening, right? You can see that nothing works, right? So we will handle the user button. So when the user will click on this button, right, what will be happen? So handle user input, so this function will be called. So this what this function will call, do handle input. So it will take the user input and it will send this input to the generate response function. This generate response function take the user input and generate the bot message. That bot message will be clear down, and after that we will this clear markdown, the message will be attached to this add message, and the add message will be added to the div, and that div will show the response from the user and the bot, both the things. So let's see now. So hi and send hi. So you can see that the hi has been sent to this bot, and it's showing the error, sorry I am unable to give response. So you can see that the error that we have written, sorry I am unable to give the response. So something failed in our this response, right? So when the error will come, so how beautifully is had been shown the error that sorry I am unable to give the response. So you can see that we have a error like when we send something to the chatbot, it's saying sorry I am unable to give response, because the error was, you can see that the prompt, that the parameter we have passed it disabled. You can see that it's not colorful, means we have done the mistake here, because we have not written the spelling correctly. So prompt spelling is wrong, so we have to write the prompt. So now it is colorful, right? Our VS code showing that our prompt is enabled. So now we can write and send the response. So now we can see that how can I help you, what is React. So let's search, so it will give the response. You can see that, but the problem is when we let's make it full, so you can see that the width has been messed up. So we have fixed this, the class issue. So in our index.html we have the wrong spelling, we have typed just, and so for that the chatbot was not responsive. So now we can type and ask anything and it will be fully responsive, right? So you can see that it's fully responsive. And then I have added another function. You can see that, sorry, event listener. And in this event listener, what it does, when you press enter on the key press, it will, you can see that the enter button that we have written, so it will prevent default, means it will prevent the behavior of adding a new line, and it will handle the user input. Like when we click on this send button, it will send the message to the bot and get the response. Similarly, we have added another functionality. When we click on the enter button in your keyboard, it will also call this handle under user input, and after calling this handle user input, it will show the response. So this how we have completed our chatbot, and you can see that I have added the comments also. So we can read it, this whole code. We have to replace your API key. So I am going to delete my API key, that make your API key is secure, so don't share your API key with anybody. Push this all this code on the GitHub, and I have added the comments also. You can just read it and understand each line, right? So you can go and check this whole code and run in your laptop. So hope you guys like this project, and thanks for watching. We'll meet in next video with a new amazing project. So thank you.